Dude, what's on your shirt? That's amazing.
But I'm wearing no pants.
Ooh. Do we ever?
Can we get a hell's yes?
It's hell yeah.
What's up, partner?
Stone cold, so I've been feeling the hell yeah here lately. Dude, it's Andor Day.
It is Andor Day.
Bring some hell yeahs from the chat too.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? All right, Crusher Convo. What is up? She is here. Actually made it to a live show. That is great to know. We got a lot of Star Trek people in the chat.
Yeah.
Damon, what's happening? What is happening? Welcome everybody to a special Scarif Live here on the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, part of the Red 5 Network. The Dingus Den just entered the building. Hey-o!
My man from Amsterdam.
Excellent. Since I have him on the horn, do you remember, Brad, the Darth Vader comic book series? I think it was a 4-parter, Dark Visions.
Yes, I think so.
I
quickly remembered after looking at the cover of it, but yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. You are absolutely more than welcome to join us, but we're trying to schedule a time where Spencer joins us, and we're going to kind of deep dive that comic book series, because I don't know if you remember the controversy on that second episode where Vader impales the blonde nurse. Remember that?
Yeah,
a little bit,
vaguely.
Yeah, so
it'd be a good excuse to go back and read it. I might have to get it digital. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, any chance to start Spencer, I'll take it.
Excellent. So yeah, we're going to be doing that hopefully soon. I got to dig
my
my
alter
copies
ego.
up.
I don't actually have a rash. That's an alter ego.
Nice. Whatever works. So for the longest time, fans have been screaming and clamoring for a trailer for season 2 of Andor, and we got it tonight.
Yeah. I've already how many times have you watched it?
17 and a half.
Yeah, I didn't quite make it through that last half. It reminds. I've only watched it twice so far. I'm gonna watch it a bunch more. When are we getting this? April
22nd.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it a few more times. But it reminds me of when episode 3, when that trailer dropped, and and that's when you could get them on YouTube, and I just watched that one over and over again because it had Obi-Wan's voice on there when it said before the dark times, before the Empire.
Yeah.
And then it showed all the different clips from episode 3.
Sure.
It reminds me of that. I'm going to watch this one a million more times.
Yeah, it's I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. We you mentioned that we might get two good Star Wars. Star Wars. This is back
Don't call
to
it a comeback. Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah, but I mean, I was not. I'm not surprised that obviously Andor is one of my favorite Star Wars projects in the new Disney Star Wars era. Obviously we both loved Rogue One for various reasons. The rest of the stuff has been kind of hit or miss, mostly miss, but I'm really looking forward to Andor season 2.
This looks like a 12-part Rogue One.
It really does.
Which is amazing.
I think we've been kind of expecting that, especially after all the comments that Gilroy and the cast and crew have been kind of making throughout the last couple of years, and some interviews that he, had with, I guess, with publications and stuff like that. But absolutely, Spencer,
are you referring to the music? Not a fan of what you heard, or something else?
Really liking what I saw in the trailer tonight. Yeah, I think that was a little, when Star Wars uses regular music, it is a little jarring. And I think that's what I commented on Twitter earlier today. I think I liked everything.
Well, give it a pass though. Like I said, I learned my lesson from Skeleton Crew. I'm gonna let it slide.
Sure. And obviously, I was directed to who that person was, who the singer-songwriter is, Steve Earle, song 2004, The Revolution Starts Now. And I think when you think about it, it's kind of appropriate for the subject matter. the beginning of the rebellion, the downfall of, or I guess, not really the downfall of the Empire, but really, how the regular folk in Star Wars land kind of, want to rise up and resist the tyrannical Empire. So we're getting that message really, now.
Yeah. And I'm okay with the music. Again, like I'm gonna let it slide, but think of how cool that would have been with John Williams-esque music.
Yeah, and I think I think they know what they're doing, though. They're kind of infusing or kind of generating or inciting a sense of revolution, really. And I think because of real world stuff, I think they kind of hit that vein,
You should
straight
have gone with
on.
the Beatles then,
Yeah.
So you want a revolution,
That would have been interesting. The Beatles revolution in Huttese.
Stop.
That would have been pretty funny. But just so we don't get copyright strikes, I don't know. I'm not gonna play the audio. So Spencer, you've been saved, but I'm gonna kind of stop it every so often, just so we don't get struck here on the YouTube. But
is that person walking some sort of dog?
It's funny. I just looked at it, and one of the wonderful things about the internet and technology is that you can look at every frame for longer than what it's up. So yes, it does look like they're walking little space dogs, loth cats or loth wolves or something.
Always good to see Mon Mothma. That's part of my notes, which means if she's in there, we're still going to get the political drama that we had the first season, except it's going to be even more tense this time because we're getting that much closer to Rogue One and to Episode 4, and the Empire is going to be tightening the noose, so to speak.
Yeah,
and I believe that intrigue is going to be really awesome this season.
I think it's going to be fantastic, and obviously we know that it's going to tie up very nicely towards the end of this season. Is going to tie up really nicely and kind of butt up to the beginning of Rogue One. So really excited to kind of see, and it's
Damon,
funny
don't get me
because
excited like that.
What was that?
I said, Damon, don't get me excited like that.
What does he say? Let's see.
Will the Emperor make a cameo?
Yeah, I don't know if the Empire might. Somebody else might.
But I mean, this is getting closer to when, he dissolves the Senate.
Right.
So there might be whispers already
Sure.
of his plans to do that. Because I don't think he just, I don't think that was just a quick decision that he made during Episode 4. I'm sure that was premeditated. So there might be some whispers of that.
Sure. And obviously, later on when I'll play the trailer in a second, but there are some events that happen during this timeline that affect the Empire as well as the rebellion and citizens in general. But I think, dissolving the Imperial Senate probably is a direct result to some of those actions. And I think it's a way to have the Empire kind of control the population a little better. Reason why Tarkin says that line, the governors now have direct control over their territories, and they it's funny, they cut out the middleman in the Imperial Senate, and I think that's kind of telling.
So now I think all people will need to watch is Episode 3, the Andor series, Rogue One, and the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And you get the whole story.
And you're good. And you're good to go. All right. So this lady's walking the dog. What else is happening here? Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
I just, dude, I mean, anytime there's stormtroopers on screen, it's a wonderful thing.
Did you know if they used the 501st again?
I don't know. I really haven't heard or read any behind the scenes stuff, but I think Filoni has a 501st connection, obviously, and I think they did it in Mando, but I'm not sure, who these guys are. Could be just, regular actors and stuff like that. But
I mean, they realize how hardcore those guys are, so I don't know why you wouldn't use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. So, okay. So we get We get a couple of shots of this. We get some aftermath of this event, which I think people online are calling the Gorman Massacre. And I think, and I can't remember. Did you read the book
Was this?
Rebel Rising?
Yeah. So the first thing that hit me, and I can't. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it. Was when they were at a ball, and then I just remember them talking because Saul Guerrero
Mm-hmm.
ended up infiltrating that, and I know there was flechettes flying and everybody was dying everywhere.
Yes.
And when we saw that ballroom scene in here, where the crazy dancing, that's immediately what I thought of, which would tie in Jin. But this, but Jin was. Do we know what? Because that was a few years before Rogue One, so I'm not sure if that matches up with the timeline or not.
Right. I mean, it, obviously it depends. Somebody in the chat earlier commented on the fact that we're getting kind of like a weird little time jump in between each series or each set of episodes.
Yeah.
So, it could match up. So we get some nice shots of Cassian, wearing different outfits and walking in different areas. I think we'll get to see a lot of what Cassian has been up to as an agent of the rebellion, and I think that'll tie in nicely to his little speech in Rogue One to Jyn Erso, all the things that he had to do for the rebellion.
Yeah. All those things he mentioned.
Yeah.
Damon, to your question about Galen's wife, it's in one. I think it might be in that same book, or not. No, I think one of the prelude books to Rogue One. I believe she's a member of the Church of the Force, which is not. It's not the Jedi Order. The Jedi Order was already gone by that point, but she was a member of the Church of the Force. Who was people who believed in the Force and believed in the Jedi, but they didn't have any Force powers. Yeah, Catalyst.
I thought I was going to say Catalyst.
Yeah, because you have a bunch of great books. You have the Tarkin book that came out, and then you have Catalyst, and you have Rogue One. I recommend reading those two books and watching Rogue One. But yeah, she's a member of the Church of the Force, so she does believe in it, and that's why she gave Jyn that necklace, which is like obviously the Kyber crystal.
That's cool. So again, we get some really great shots of people doing things and walking to and fro from the camera's perspective, but it gives us a nice glimpse into the activity of Cassian. Love that jacket.
Spencer, the Rebel Rising worth reading. It's about you could probably read it in one day if you really wanted to. It's it's a young adult book, but it gives some background. Basically, it just gives background on that conversation between Jyn and Saw Gerrera, where she's like, last time I saw you, you left me with a loaded blaster. And then it explains all those the different charges against her that they mentioned in Rogue One. It just gives background and all that. It's a quick read. It's not bad. I wouldn't go out of your way to read it, but it's nice just for some background information.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of background information on Jyn Erso and her abilities with forging computer documents and things like that. So, I think it picks up when she hides in that little bunker area in Rogue One, and then Saw Gerrera comes and gets her. So I enjoyed it. I think
Saul mentions is like you are already like the most experienced person in my cadre, or whatever.
Yeah.
It explains how that happened at such a young age. I highly recommend reading Catalyst. Between that and Tarkin, they give some really good background information going into Rogue One.
Damon's got an interesting question. Will this series already improve your opinions on Cassian's character after everything's finished? My opinion on Cassian was never in question as far as how much I like the character. So I don't know what you're talking about, Damon.
I think it'll just add depth to his character and probably make us even more heartbroken by the end of Rogue One.
Yeah. Brett mentions the book Red Harvest. Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah. Star Wars' second attempt at doing a horror
Oh,
for a book. We had the Death Troopers, and then
right.
I believe it's the same author did Red Harvest,
Hmm.
which was set back in the Old Republic time.
Yeah.
And then it's something.
Yeah. All right. That's cool.
It's different. I always recommend different
Sure.
types of books.
Somebody had mentioned that this Wheatfield planet gave them Dantooine vibes.
Could be. I was thinking Vietnam. So,
Sure,
so,
sure.
I mean,
Or Iowa.
by Vietnam, I mean the feeling, especially the shot, which I told you was my favorite. That one coming up right there.
Yeah. Right here.
That is like a straight like Vietnam strafing run, and I love it.
Yeah. I like the just little details. I like the quotes that they're putting in between the shots.
Yeah,
And it kind of just reminds you where we're at when it comes to this
recognize fool.
series and prestige drama, television, yada yada yada. So I'm liking it. We get a glimpse at good old Saw Gerrera wearing his outfit that is more closely resembles Rogue One outfit. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy to see Saw back in the suit, and I can't wait to see his interactions. Hopefully, we'll get some really great dialogue between him and maybe, Mon Mothma. I know those two characters were highly, highly effective in the Rebels animation, and it's one of those things that ever since I saw the interaction between them in the animation, I really I really wish that we can get some equal if not better dialogue in something live action, and here we are.
Yeah. Now we did a show on Saw Gerrera, the character specifically, quite a while back. I think that was in our first year of recording. But how much does Forrest Whitaker sell it for you? Do you buy him as a militant rebel leader?
Um, I think based on his actions, definitely. I think he carries the Saw Gerrera character, uh, further, or I guess to new heights. Obviously, we know that he's quite bitter because the death of his sister really affected him, and I think he blames whether it's the Empire or the Republic. I mean, he blames the governmental forces, I guess, for her death, and a little bit of the Jedi as well, because Ahsoka was there during the original story, and in I think it was the Clone Wars when we get introduced to him. And I think it's one of George Lucas's favorite characters. He was the one that suggested bringing him in, from the animation to live action. So absolutely. I think he sells it. I think, his facial scars, his affectation when he speaks, I think Saw Gerrera is probably one of the most unique characters in Star Wars.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. So it's good to see him here. And I'm wondering too, because it seems like we don't have any moments where we get to see like why Saw Gerrera starts wearing all these contraptions, and I don't know if we'll get to see like a mission that kind of went wrong to make
Yeah,
him.
I want him to get beat the hell up.
Yeah.
Because to me it comes off as he always sends other people into the fray,
Right.
but not much himself.
Yeah.
So I
hopefully
mean, I mean,
we'll get
at the
to.
beginning he did, going back to the Clone Wars cartoon, but it seems like after a while he just sent other people into the fray, but somehow he got pretty messed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
True state.
this shot is beautiful.
Yeah, that could be a painting.
Yep, that's what I said. I said something on the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. The colors, the
who's she
depth.
looking at? Is
I
it
don't
Yoda
know.
sitting on the toilet?
Yes.
It's probably Yoda on the can.
Yeah, but how wild would it be if your guess is correct? Where this is
It's
the
Yoda on the
party?
can?
No, the other
Oh.
guess.
But I don't think it's been a while since I read, Rebel Rising, but I don't remember Mon being there unless, I
Right.
mean, it could always be from a different perspective where, she's
Sure.
mentioned in one, not the other. But as I remember, that was a very local party to that particular planet.
Yeah.
But it could be.
Yeah. And I think there were imperial governors that Saw Gerrera really wanted to get his hands on, and
Yeah.
he did not care about any collateral damage. He just wanted to
Yeah.
get those governors, and I think that more applies to the steps on the outside where we see the stormtroopers blow up,
Right.
because it's very reminiscent to the description in the book that I remember.
Yeah.
And I think there's an old Star Wars comic book that mentions them as well. I think Luke Skywalker was, I don't know if it was Luke, but somebody was talking to Two Tubes, and they mentioned that event as well.
That probably
But
was when they went back to the planet.
yeah,
What it was called, Jeddah.
yeah. Confident and sophisticated, of course, and I think this is one of the reasons that I really enjoy the Andor series, because there's no babysitting of Baby Yoda. There's no goofy aliens with daddy issues. The humor is kept to a low, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's not gonna. I don't think there's gonna be much humor in this one.
I have a bad feeling about this. Luthen might meet his maker, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Lack has a good comment here. Do you agree with his comment?
Is that, I don't know if that's being facetious or if that's a actual opinion. Lack, you have to let me know. But I mean, greatest, no, but I think he's definitely. I like it because again, we're seeing all ends of the spectrum on this, and what people are willing to do, what they can justify in their own minds for for the sake of freedom.
Yeah.
Let somebody have some mystery to them.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs a backstory starting as a 9-year-old. Let it be a mystery.
Yeah, and you can obviously extrapolate, from his actions already. We know he's the one, rich guy that kind of starts and jumpstarts the rebellion in some way. We can kind of guess his motivations as to why, but it's nice just to kind of have a little bit of a mystery and just leave it like that.
Yeah, I mean, figure it out from his actions.
Yeah. And this is very tropey that nobody.
Hey, I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
I know. Yeah. Nobody.
No
cool,
look explosion.
Yeah. Nobody.
Send
yeah.
it.
This is a little
Send
desperado.
It. Boom.
Yeah.
There's my man right there. No,
yeah.
that's the greatest character. He's not, but I still love him though.
Well, we all know that it's always sunny on Scarif, and he's definitely looking at the beaches.
That's right.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah, there's no Baby Yodas in this conversation. You take that shit somewhere else.
All right, so this is an interesting shot too. You get a very dark scene where there's a dead body in the foreground, and the ships are taking off. Obviously, they've done their job.
That's a mission accomplished. Looks like.
Yeah, and I really love this quote too from, I think, Rolling Stone, a prestige drama with searing action and Emmy-worthy performances. But I wanted to point out that these X-Wings are a little different than the X-Wings that we know and love. That ship in the middle is unfamiliar, but it almost looks like a Republic gunship. But
that's what I thought. It looked like a modified gunship.
Yeah. But the X-Wings have different color markings. It's black and white, and I think those are Saw. What's the name of the Saw Gerrera group? I forgot.
The it's Dirty Saw and the boys. I don't know.
I think they had a name.
The Misfits.
The Misfits, yeah. The Two Tubes and
the big question is, did Andy Serkis learn how to swim?
That's that will be answered in the final episode.
When he comes back as Snoke. Mm.
But beautiful shot. Here's some more of the supposed Gorman massacre. And I think this event might be the linchpin to Mon Mothma pulling out of the Imperial Senate and then really, setting her goals into motion. I'm assuming that the Imperial forces are going to be firing and killing a lot of innocent people during that event, just as they defend their forces.
I mean, terrorism has to be put down.
All right, so this shot is amazing only because I like stormtrooper outfits, but these guys are interesting. They're slightly modified, a little different. No helmets, and Lack has it. The partisans, that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are we looking at here?
I don't know. They look like some sort of special Imperial forces. Is that Cam Ray in the middle?
could be. If not, I'm sure he will soon make a video where it is Cam Ray.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, these outfits are great, and I
love that middle one. That's pretty awesome.
But now
so they're definitely on Andor in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and that's where he started. And then they kind of morphed into the partisans.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too, because look at his shoulder pauldron has got a black stripe on it. So are these partisans too that have infiltrated some sort of Imperial base during one of the arcs?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they just took that armor off some dead bodies and started using it.
Maybe, yeah, could be. Oh, my girl Deidre's back.
What's her name? I forget her name.
Deidre.
Yeah, I mean, I think she did an amazing job in season 1.
Yeah,
and I don't care about the other guy and his cornflakes and his nagging mom.
Cyril.
Like, I don't know why he's there, but I think she did a great job.
Absolutely. Somebody had posed a question, and maybe it was Nicole in the chat. Maybe it was somebody else online. They talked about how traditionally the Empire has really been what do you call it? Not xenomorphic.
They're xenophobic.
Yeah. And the fact that a woman is an Imperial officer in the Security Bureau goes against that a little bit, because traditionally it's all been men. But what do you?
So the original idea was that the Empire was completely xenophobic and it looked like sexist because it was all British men, British white men everywhere in the Empire, and that's all you had. I think pretty sure George has even talked about this, but that was a sign of the times of when he recorded. Yeah. Since then, there's been much more. I mean, we've had, it's still a minority as far as numbers go, but they've shown different races in the empires, and they have shown women in the Empire. Between the books and comics and other media, you see it more.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm not sure if it was ever supposed to be that way. I could see it, again, because it was originally modeled off the Nazi Party with the stormtroopers. So maybe to some extent it was meant to be that way. All that being said, I would assume something like the ISB, if it's anything like our universe, would still be male dominated. Sure. So to some extent, it would be. I would see her having to work that much harder in her profession if there's any parallels between the Star Wars universe and ours.
Yeah, and her character is fantastic. I think she gets things done, and she's not afraid to push back if she needs to. And I think I'm looking forward to more ISB drama behind the scenes, because it's one of the things that I really enjoyed about season 1. That boardroom with the rest of the Imperial security officers was just phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things that plants seeds of things to come, and obviously there's a lot of stuff that we already know that has happened, but we get a glimpse of it here with those characters as well.
Hopefully we get some more Yularen in this one.
Yeah. And here's your boy again, and it looks like he's at a party with remember Davos Skulden, the crime lord that teamed up with Mon Mothma to fund some program or whatever in the first season. So,
and he's wearing a different type of dress uniform there too.
Yeah, I think
he's got some chokers on there,
some brass and some decorations. Yeah. You know, one of the things that really fascinates me about this series that is very different than some of the other shows on Star Wars Disney Plus, they really made an effort to make the costumes look like they were filmed in 1977, 76. They really, and they really did a good job in continuing George's used, look, his universe. Those stormtrooper infiltrators that we were talking about. I mean, they've got dirt and dents and things like that. And as you know, one of the things that really bugged the crap out of me is that, during the Ahsoka show, a lot of the costumes seemed like they were just made and put on the actors, and they didn't have any dirt, any grime, any wear, and it just bugged the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Damon says, putting on that Imperial outfit must have been so special. As for someone who's worn multiple real Trek costumes in the franchise, it's such a feeling. It is a feeling. Don't mention Trek on our show anymore, though. But
I mean, he says you can. He says it's fine.
It's fine. But no, absolutely.
We don't hawk Trek here.
But it's funny because the actors have to be having so much fun just putting all these outfits on. Especially
it looks like it looks like they're having a blast on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's wonderful that Mendelsohn returned. I know we got word, a couple of months ago that he was coming back. I don't think it would be an effective second season of Andor if his character did not come back to kind of help, bring in the story and tie things in, for things that are going to happen in Rogue One, obviously. So really glad that he returned.
I guess we're not going to have Tarkin with all that stuff that happened with him.
Probably not yet, and that's fine. I think, that story, I guess that element of his story kind of culminates in Rogue One. But what do you think about Galen Erso?
I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be in this.
Right. And, I really wouldn't mind seeing Jimmy Smits back.
And obviously Jimmy should be in it.
Yeah. And Jar Jar.
And the Phantom Menace himself. Jar Jar Binks. That's a terrifying shot there with the TIE fighter.
Yeah. And is it on yeah, it is.
It's just floating there.
Look at that.
Looks like it's in a hangar.
And then some dancing. The Mon Mothma orgy, as somebody mentioned in the chat. Little hyperspace action. And I've
been trying to figure out what that little floating device was there.
Let's see here. Almost look like obviously if they're a camera, if they're if they're at a party, you would hire like a wedding photographer or something.
That's what it is.
Probably.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
You ever use a camera like that? Does that look familiar to you?
The lights, maybe. The lens. It's funny though, because
there's that guy though. There's that guy from the other scene though.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny. If you take a look at some very old cameras from the 50s, the zoom lenses weren't present in some of the old cameras. You would actually have to turn to like telephoto and zoom lens. So that's what it kind of looks like. And then obviously the lights around it are for that. But It's a social media TikTok droid.
I mean,
why don't we have those now?
It'll be here any day now.
And K2SO, everybody's favorite.
That's the best character of Star Wars Disney.
There you go. So it's going to be nice to see, obviously, a little history of how Cassian reprogrammed this Imperial droid and took him.
So are they going to retcon the comic books, or those just don't count, or what? Or are they going to put this in between when that happened?
I don't know. Good question. And then
there we get some klaxon alarms going off for that stormtrooper shot.
Right. But it's nice to see that Bix and Cassian get reunited.
She's awesome too.
Yeah, she is. We get some
crowd control.
Crowd control here. We get a tank, which is nice. There's your favorite. Speaking of best character ever.
Nothing against the actor. It's just a stupid character, though. Like,
Melchi's back.
And looking pretty terrified at that.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to get some background on more background on Melchi, too, though.
Yeah.
We had him for a little bit, a few minutes in season 1.
Sure.
It'll be nice to see him in action.
Which is nice. And thank you, Nicole. Yes, please hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the Scarif Scuttlebutt Podcast live channel here on YouTube if you have not done so. Thank you very much, Nicole. Nicole is part of the Red 5 Network. Well, she's running the Red 5 Reading Room, so please look for Red 5 Reading on Twitter and make sure you follow. And if you like reading, join the Red 5 Reading Discord. Wonderful stuff that's happened over there. Spencer's a member.
Wish I could read.
So we get Melchi looking all scared. What's up, Crystal? Love that you showed up.
Yeah, me too, Crystal. I'm glad you showed up too. It's good to see you.
How many times have you watched it, Crystal? I know you were waiting for it. We were all waiting for it. Good times. All right. So Melchi's back. These last shots.
What up? I still don't get a what up, Crystal. That's it. I'm done.
These shots here are
I didn't see
pretty good.
One.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
There's some quick editing here, but it really kind of sets the pace.
Are there some food processors in that one? Looks like there might be.
Yeah. And again, here's a reverse shot of
who's in the tie.
Yeah.
Who's in the tie?
It's Kylo. Insert Kylo Ren scene here.
It's Finn.
Yeah. Look at that.
Ooh, look
at that emblem.
I'll have to watch it a million more times. Yeah. Spider there?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Space spider?
Is this the same venue where the party is happening? I don't know.
That means there's going to be definitely multiple episodes committed to that event, I'm thinking.
Yeah. But another refreshing thing when I saw this shot, obviously, another refreshing thing is really, and we know from season 1, very limited use or no use of the volume. And I think that's what makes this show look richer and feel better than some of the other Star Wars shows.
It just looks real.
It just looks real. Exactly. Yeah. I think, for technology's sake, I think the volume was kind of cool, but I think audiences are starting to, I don't know, get tired of it. You got to do it in a
tired of it
way.
Already? It hasn't been around that long.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get a little distracted when I see, volume shots.
So you don't think that's going to be a technology that's here to stay? You think that's going to be a fad?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be a fad, but I think for shows like Star Wars, they probably shouldn't use as much of the volume as they are using. I know there's a volume that's being constructed in Canada, obviously the ones in the States. There's another one in the UK that's going up. So I don't think it's going to be a fad. I think they're still going to use it, but I think, I've always said this. If you watch the movie The Creator, directed by Gareth Edwards as well, ILM did some wonderful, wonderful work with The Creator, and it was no volume. It was Gareth Edwards went out and shot in real locations, and then they brought the footage back, and then they inserted effects into the shots, which were seamless. Obviously, thank you ILM for that. But yeah, it's again, I don't think it's a fad, but I think if they use it sparingly, or there seems to be something missing when it comes to workflow. And if they get that ironed out, I think
Definitely a couple awkward shots in Skeleton Crew when they're using it.
Sure. Yeah. So we get a lot of screaming. We get a lot of this line here with this character that we don't know. He says, what does he say? You're here to fight, or something like that. But
yeah,
good stuff.
Pretty compelling stuff from Saul.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's
beautiful hair.
Cassian looking all dapper. I'll just leave it on this shot, but April 22nd can't get here fast enough. And I know, we shouldn't rush through time, live your life, but really looking forward to Andor season 2.
3 episode drops. So we'll have, I don't know, it's going to limit our Saturdays to talk about it though. But that's fine.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's funny. Like I said, did I say it earlier or before we started rolling? The first season, I think people were finding out that the first season of Andor worked better in 3 episode chunks and chunks, because it felt like a story arc was complete in that way. And I think that they're going to do it again, but I think they're going to do it again for, on purpose. I hope the episodes are, long, 3 episodes. And if each episode is 20 minutes, I think that would suck.
Yeah, I'll be pissed. You get 3 and they're all 15 minutes each.
Right. Yeah. But, I think it's one of those shows where, hopefully it will reflect a longer runtime, because the subject matter is so that they really have to, I don't know, flesh out the drama, the intrigue, the political intrigue, and they left a lot of questions unanswered in season 1.
Dang it! So it's 4 weeks. I was wondering if they're going to stretch it out a little bit, like put 2 weeks in between or something.
Yeah,
it's a weekly drop.
Yeah. Does it say what day? What the first one is the
22nd, 29th,
what
May
day is
6th, April 22nd.
Somebody in the chat, what day is April 22nd?
We're all looking at the same time. April 22nd is a Tuesday.
Okay. Tuesdays. And
yeah, they're all Tuesdays.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Besides the music, we talked about obviously the music for the trailer, and Brett in the chat had said that our friends over at Michelle and
Force of Light.
Yeah, Force of Light. They were talking about electric guitar music in the Star Wars, and I reminded them on Twitter that the clone, the one of the prequels had guitar music in the actual movie, so it's not the first time that we hear electric guitar. But yeah,
I mean, if that's the only downside to this trailer. I mean, I don't even consider it a downside.
No, yeah, I and you said it. I think we learned our lesson from Skeleton Crew. I think we were.
That's what advertising has to be these days.
Sure.
To get people hooked. Do what you gotta do. But
obviously people were complaining that that they should do 1 episode at a time in a week. But I like it this way because it's
I
like a
will
mini,
binge. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a mini movie event,
Yeah.
beginning to
It's gonna be
end.
like a 4-week binge. It'll
Yeah,
be great.
and I think the story, I guess each group will have a resolution for the most part, and on to the next thing. It's funny how during the Ahsoka we had these short episodes, 1 week at a time, and once we started getting into it, then the credits started to roll, and we're like, "Oh, we got to wait another
Yeah.
week."
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of dangerous when they do it that way, because then you get people uninterested in what happens next. If the episodes are short and then you have to wait, they tend to just wait until the whole series is done and then just binge watch the whole thing. So I think this is kind of a smart move, a good move, to get folks excited and talking about it. I know everybody's shows will probably be 2 hours plus long because they have to kind
Yeah.
of, you know,
And maybe they're just trying this model out to see how it works.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
say there's any criticism of the first season. It may have been pacing. I think it did get slow, unnecessarily slow in a couple spots throughout the season. So I think putting 3 episodes at a time will kind of, because you might put a slow one. Episode 2 might be slow compared to 1 and 3. So overall, it'll be good pacing.
yeah. Yeah, Major Tom sang in Huttese was a nice twist. It had a lot of us scratching our heads, but I think it kind of made sense. And who knows? I think after Andor season 2, we're going to go on a little bit of a hiatus because there's nothing in the works. There's nothing, like, not even, I don't even think Ahsoka season 2 has started shooting yet.
Oh,
We're gonna have to wait a long time for anything, unless they have. And I do remember somebody had a rumor that they were already working on a Star Wars animated show that might take place towards the end of the year. So who knows?
use this format, use this model, and just give us an original trilogy show like was talked about back in the 90s with George. Maybe even going back to the 80s to talk about it, but he definitely talked about it in the 90s. Use this format. It's going to be different characters, but use this format and just give us the rebels during the original trilogy.
Oh, and speaking of which, did you notice that the a Star Wars story was tacked on to season 2 and it wasn't really on season 1? So
No,
they're
I didn't
going
know that.
back. Yeah, they're going back to a Star Wars story. And I think obviously the whole concept of Star Wars stories being kind of anthology shows, like you said, taking stories or characters from the rest of the universe and kind of plucking them out and teasing out stories. I think that they should continue to do that. I know, we've had a rough spot as Star Wars fans, but hopefully this is the start of something good. And I know
Hopefully,
Michelle with
cautiously
12,
optimistic.
yeah, Michelle with 2 L's mentioned that it might be a new renaissance for Star Wars on the small screen. I tend to agree, but I hope that this is not the exception to the rule. I think hopefully we'll get some more stuff to talk about.
Maybe those things we don't like will just become a distant memory.
Yeah,
Just go back to normal, good Star Wars content.
absolutely. Any final thoughts on Andor season 2 trailer? I think I'm going to watch it maybe another 7.5 times and see
Yeah,
what else we pick up.
I mean, you gotta get that last half for sure. But yeah, I haven't been this excited, for Star Wars content in quite a while. We, like I said, we weren't excited for Skeleton Crew, and then it ended up, proving us wrong and being a pretty decent show. But I haven't been this excited for a show or any kind of Star Wars project in quite a while. So I'm excited and looking forward to April.
Absolutely. It's funny. Skeleton Crew really surprised us. I wasn't as excited uh, of watching a subsequent episode of Skeleton Crew. I think it was fine. I think it was passable. I really enjoyed it. But Andor is one of those shows that really tickles my fancy because it's written in such a way that it's written for adult Star Wars fans. I heard people say that online, but it's written so well. The production value is so high, and it's something that I wish all Star Wars on TV would kind of use as a litmus to really create the best content that they can.
Yeah, and maybe if we're lucky, they don't push this timeline too close to Rogue One.
Yeah,
to leave it open for another season, but
I don't think so. I think they're butting it up right to the beginning of season of Rogue One. That's what I heard that Gilroy was talking about.
Rogue One happened 5 minutes before A New Hope.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there's a 5-minute sliver they can make another 12 episode series about.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. D-Man says, how long ago was season 1?
23.
Was it 23? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know people complain about the time between seasons, but I'm not one of them. Do it and do it right.
Do it right.
Yeah.
Again, we're the 3 year. We're part of the 3 year crew where we had to wait 3 years between movies. I'm fine with that. I don't think we need 3 years between shows, but if that's how long it takes to make a decent show, then
yeah. Max Rebo says they say the finale of Andor leaving off for the Ring of Caffeine. So I think
that'd be sad, but okay.
Yeah. But I think it's great. Again, you can kind of binge watch the shows and have such a wonderful experience watching everything in between.
Yep.
Excellent.
Read Tarkin, read Catalyst.
Yes.
Watch these two seasons. Watch Rogue One and then A New Hope, and you'll just be on a Star Wars high after that one.
Yeah, and you are set. But Brad, any final thoughts? I think we're good.
Loving it.
Thank you to the chat, everybody in the chat that
Definitely
was here and made some comments. Love that you guys interact with us. And next time we'll do it again. I don't know.
It is still Sunday on Scarif.
And that is the scuttlebutt. All right, guys. There's no bells and whistles on this StreamYard app, so I'm just going to say, see ya. Thank you, guys, everybody, for joining us.
Good night, guys.